Have you ever stopped to think if every single creature out there needs sleep the way we do? Well, today we're diving into the world of one of nature's most non-stop workers, the ant. And there's this popular idea that they just don't sleep.
But is that really the whole story? Turns out the answer is way more fascinating than a simple yes or no. In fact, it kind of forces us to rethink what rest even means.
So to really wrap our heads around what's going on with ants, we first have to look at our own ideas about sleep and ask if our way is the only way.
I mean, for us humans and for a ton of other animals, sleep is completely non-negotiable, right? We need that big, solid chunk of it every single day to recharge our bodies, fix things up, and lock in our memories. It's just a biological must-have. But ants, they just throw that whole rulebook out the window. They've developed a totally different way to rest. So let's break down what an ant's power nap is all about. And this comparison just lays it all out. While we run on this central circadian rhythm, that internal 24-hour clock, ants just don't. They've swapped out one long sleep for hundreds of tiny, scattered little pauses all day and all night. So how many of these little breaks are we talking about? Okay, get this. A single worker ant takes about 250 of them every single day. And if that number didn't blow your mind, each one of those little rests lasts on average for just about 1 minute. It's a break so short, you and I would barely even notice it. So you might be asking, what's even the point of such a short pause? Well, it all comes down to pure efficiency. These aren't deep sleeps for the brain. Nope. They're just micro breaks that let the ant's metabolism dip just a little bit, letting it save a tiny bit of precious energy for the good of the colony. Okay, so what happens when you scale that up from one ant to thousands? Well, you get something absolutely incredible, a colony that literally never sleeps.
To get this, you have to stop thinking of an ant colony as a bunch of individuals. You have to see it as a superorganism. It's like one single living thing where the survival of the whole is way, way more important than any single ant. And the results of that is pretty mind-blowing because all those individual ants are taking their 1-minute naps at different times. The colony as a whole is never offline, not for a second. It's a true 24/7 operation, always active, always working. And that constant buzz of activity is absolutely essential. I mean, the to-do list is endless. There's always food to find, larvae to take care of, enemies to defend against, and tunnels to dig. The work never, ever stops, so the colony can't afford to either. But here's where it gets even cooler, because even within this system of constant work, not every ant rests the same way. The strategy actually changes depending on your job title in the colony. And this chart says it all. Your job decides your rest schedule. The queen, who's the absolute heart of the colony, she gets to rest for up to 8 hours a day, safe and sound. But the worker ants, the ones who are more expendable, they rest way less to keep the whole machine running. It's a system where rest is a luxury, not a given. And this quote just sums it up perfectly. Sleep isn't some universal one-size-fits-all thing. It's a flexible strategy, something that evolution has molded to fit a super specific job and environment. So, what's the big payoff for this completely bizarre way of resting? This brings us to the final and maybe the most powerful piece of the puzzle, the ultimate adaptation. You know the feeling, right? We pull an all-nighter, and the next day we're foggy, we can't think straight, we've built up a sleep debt. But ants? Nope, that's just not a thing for them. Because of their micro-rests, they never accumulate that debt. They're just always ready to go. And this all adds up to a huge advantage for survival. By getting rid of downtime, the entire colony is hyper-responsive. It can react instantly to a predator or jump on a new food source the second it appears. It's a big part of why ants have been so wildly successful on this planet. So it all comes back to this one crucial point. Ants prove that our very human-centric idea of sleep, this long daily shutdown, is not universal at all. Evolution found a completely different path, and for them, it works so much better. And that leaves us with one last really fascinating question to think about. If a colony can be active 24/7 and all it takes are 1-minute pauses to keep it going, then what does the word rest truly even mean? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me.